Thank you so much for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love and segment on Inspiration Sunday. The Awakening with Katina Love is your go-to resource to learn about self-empowerment, the law of attraction, creating financial abundance, and natural health. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Awakening with Katina Love. Our special guest today is Angela Alexander-Roth. She is a metaphysician and a Reiki energy healer. Please like, share, and subscribe to her YouTube channel, Earth and Sky Center, right here on YouTube. Be sure to come back and check her videos. She posts every week and you don't want to miss out. So Angela, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. We met a few years ago at Revive Wellness Spa, one of the events. And I just really took to you because you have such wonderful, beautiful energy.
Oh, thank you.
And I call you my earth angel. You don't know this, but
I'm
letting you know now. You're my earth angel.
Aww.
Yes, because you're such a sweetheart.
Oh, I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I'm just so happy we reconnected. You've been doing classes at Right Natural Health on Linden Road in Flint. And I just love your classes. You know, you've really been helping me a lot with the meditation and really encouraging me to do more of that in my life.
Thank you.
Yeah, on a daily basis.
Is so important.
Isn't it?
Yes.
It's so important.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm just so happy to be here with you and to, connect with, someone else who's on a similar path as me. And I just think it's so important that we as uplifters and healers, that we support each other and stay connected,
Absolutely, yes. It's very
yes.
important.
So I felt so drawn and so led, to do this show with you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I want to know what led you on your spiritual path, like what led you to do this work?
I think I've always just really felt drawn to it. I know I had my first psychic dreams when I was 2. My mother told me, I don't remember it myself, but my mother told me about it, screaming the name of her best friend while I was sleeping, and in the morning we found out her best friend had hemorrhaged, and then 6 months later I started screaming my aunt's name, and so she called her right away, and she was hemorrhaging in that moment, and so it just really continued through that. And when I didn't want to spend the time in high school, so I taught myself high school in a year and a half, and then tested straight into college. So it was full-time So it was full-time in college at 16, and then I had to wait until I was 18 to do body work because of laws, which makes sense for that. And but as soon as I started doing body work, I went through massage school, and I was drawn instantly to energy healing. It just fit for me. It felt like what I was kind of destined to do, I guess I would say. And I've just gravitated towards it ever since. And several different forms of energy modalities. I'm a Reiki master teacher and trauma touch therapist, quantum healing, many different things, and I kind of meld all of them together in my therapies. Yeah.
That's really awesome. That's really, really awesome. So you're saying you were about 2 years old when you first yelled your mom's friend's name? Wow, that's so young. That's a baby.
Yeah.
So really, Sources just really, you were a channel at that early of an age.
Yeah, and it's always just kind of felt that openness to me, and I think a lot of children are really open too when they're born. Children are so close to coming from the other side; they just came from there, so they are those open portals. And I think when people encourage that rather than being afraid or shutting it down, it allows people to be open.
Absolutely. So do you think like maybe in your past life you did similar work? Perhaps?
It could be, yeah, it could be. I think that I focus a lot more in this life. I do believe a lot in past lives, but I focus a lot more on this life, and the present moment I think is so important to me too.
It is.
And I do work a lot with angels and other beings.
Yeah.
I do readings as well, and healing work is what really draws me the most, but I do enjoy doing readings as well.
That's awesome. I just love the work that you do.
Oh,
I really do. So what do you love most about what you do?
Helping people, really. Being able to inspire people, bringing that love into people, that's what drives me the most, is being able to help uplift the world is kind of what I want to do, and to show everybody that we all come from love. We are all made of love. It's who we are. And so that's what motivates me the most, is when I can get in, whether it's that I'm, working with a cancer patient or HIV patient, or maybe it's somebody that just needs a boost in their life. And so that's what each of those cases just
That's great. What has been your pinnacle point in this work that you do in your career?
Pinnacle point is a hard question. Again, that brings me back to that present moment. I think there's so many pinnacles, and it's celebrating each of those in the moment. I've been published in 17 different countries, and I've worked with such a broad spectrum. I've had I would work alongside Western doctors in Phoenix, and so I've helped people get off of their insulin along with the Western care to make sure it's done carefully and gradually. And I've removed tumors out of people, so that always feels like a big accomplishment. Reversing cancer, reversing HIV, and it can't be done in every case. It's not meant to be in every case. So often we get certain lessons through being sick. So sometimes people can assimilate those lessons, learn from it, and then be healed. And sometimes the lesson is going through the process too. So I never guarantee results of any type. It depends on what's your life path. But it feels wonderful every time it happens.
So tell us about Earth and Sky. Tell us more about that.
Earth and Sky. We founded it. I can't believe it's already been over a year. October 9th was our first Life Talk last year. And so it's been over a year. We broadcast Life Talks every Sunday. And again, that's because it seems like common sense isn't always common. And so we try to have some common sense. We try to explain both the scientific and the metaphysical. My husband is very good about explaining the scientific side, where I can explain the more magic side, you could say, with the metaphysical side.
I love magic.
And so it's that combination of the two. I think we're trying to bring that out into the light too, because some people fear what they don't know, and so if we explain it and people can understand and know, so many people are gravitating towards it more and more. I know when we were in Arizona, it was everywhere. It's just a way of life, the metaphysical aspects. It's just a way of life. And when we moved to Michigan 10 years ago, it just seems like there was such a fear around some of it, and that the last 3 or 4 years has really shifted. It's really lightened, and so I feel passionate about helping people that are curious, that want to know how to open up all aspects of their life.
Absolutely.
And how that can fit with whatever faith they have too. There doesn't need to be any conflict with any type of faith. And it seems like that sometimes becomes a question for people. And
it does.
It can fit with whatever faith. I believe that love is the center of everything.
It really, really is. And we need more of that, right?
Yeah, we do.
Absolutely. So can you talk to us about your classes that you offer? I know you do meditation. So when is your meditation classes?
The meditations vary. I don't have set meditations, but that varies. We do meditation pretty much every week after the Life Talk for people who join us live. But I do meditations at Right Natural Health. More will be coming up in December, but I'm also teaching a chakra class right now, which has been a lot of fun. We're going through all 9 chakras. A lot of people talk about their traditional 7 or in the Western culture. There's 7. There's 9 that I work with, and so I've been teaching a lot. We go in depth with each one of those one at a time each week with the chakra class. So that's been wonderful, and that's Monday evenings at Right Natural Health at 6 p.m. And we always do a little bit of a meditation in the end of that as well. Anybody who joins for that gets a stone each week to work with that chakra, as well as building up their workbook. I like to create workbooks for all the classes I teach as well.
Love that.
And then Thursday nights I'm doing a numerology class too, so that's really learning, the science behind numbers. There's a scientific aspect behind it, and so we're doing, as well as learning the history and how to do it, it's delving into each student's personal charts. So that's been a really fun journey as well. Keeping that class size kind of small so we can really get into it.
Personal
For each person, And then I've got a crystal gridding class that will be coming up at Right Natural Health. As soon as the chakra class concludes, we'll be getting into the crystal grid class. So how to
Ooh, that's
create
fun.
grids. Yeah, I love working with crystals. There's so much
I know,
that's
right?
wonderful with
I
that.
mean, look, I can tell here, right?
Right, a little bit of my collection here. Yes, yes.
I absolutely love crystals too. They're absolutely fascinating.
And you can do so much with them, and you don't have to know what it does for it to work for you too. That's the wonderful thing about it. Some of my clients I'll send home with the crystals because it can automatically work for the person, whether they're using it, knowledgeably or not. And it one of the ways, if you're looking to work with crystals and you're not sure what to do with it, simply holding it in your hand, just having that energy mixed with yours works well. Often I'll recommend to clients have it near your nightstand because we're so receptive during our sleep. That's when we go into our restorative phase. So if you have crystals on your nightstand or under your bed, then that energy is just going to get soaked up into you through the night.
So do you have any favorite crystals?
Quartz, clear quartz, yes, without any hesitation. Clear crystal quartz, I just love. Those are my bigger pieces up here.
I just love it.
Clear crystal quartz, you can program to do anything you want, and so it will also add to and enhance any other crystals. Probably a second behind that would be copper, which isn't a crystal, but it's that metal. And copper will enhance and be a conduit for anything too. So if you're looking to conduct something or you're looking to draw energy to you, then copper's that great magnifier for it.
Yeah, like I'm wearing this copper.
It's beautiful.
Wrapped in garnet. This someone actually personally did it for me, right on the spot.
And garnet's great for the root chakra. So
yes, and then I have this other one.
Tiger's eye, very nice.
And this copper right here.
Oh yes, yeah.
And then here's a bracelet.
Very good.
I love copper. I mean, I've just heard so many fascinating stories about copper.
And copper is great to have around your hands, especially too, because again, it's that conduit. So when you're drawing something to you, what do? You use your hands. You grab it, you draw it to you, whether you're manifesting it or whether it's a physical thing. So any stones that you want to wear, if you do it around your hands, it's a great way to draw that energy into. And the feet too, having it around the feet helps too.
I just heard about people, how they've been healed, healed arthritis and all type of other things with copper. Reduced pain, swelling and all types of things like that.
Yeah, the copper bracelets are wonderful. They can help reduce the inflammation and people feel it quickly too when you put those bracelets on, especially if you have magnetic hematite with some copper. That can really work well. You should be able to notice a difference within the first day. Often, depending on how sensitive the person is, they might notice a difference within the first hour or so. Some people aren't as tuned into their bodies though, so it depends on how tuned in you are to your body and how much that story of the illness is playing out in your life too. There's oftentimes when people have an illness, there's some type of story behind it too, a lesson behind it, a reason behind it. So depending on how much mentally they're buying into that story, it might take them a little longer to feel it. But most people within a day, often within an hour, you should notice it.
That's awesome. That's great.
And the copper is great for a pick-me-up too. If you just need a little extra energy, throw a copper bracelet on it. Helps.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's great. That's awesome. Can you tell us what services you offer?
So I do Reiki. I love Reiki energy. That's probably my biggest go-to now. In Phoenix, I was using primarily quantum techniques, and I would really found that I was forcing the healing more than allowing it to start within the person. And then through doing that, I started taking on the karmic lessons of my patients, which was very unpleasant. And so I've learned since then that I need to honor the fact of respecting their process in their body, and that they need to learn the lessons that come through it too. Every part of our body has something to tell us. So for example, if somebody has pancreatic issues going on, often they feel like the sweetness has gone out of their life. They may feel a bit more angry, or they may have different issues that deal with feeling and recognizing the sweetness in their life. And heart issues are very much what it sounds like. Often there's some type of a broken love in there, or some type of loss of love that causes the heart issues.
I get that.
So each vertebrae even has its own specific meaning depending on the nerves that it runs out to. So it's your body is like a roadmap for what's going on mentally and spiritually. And so,
That's amazing.
So I use that a lot. So I had, in Phoenix, I would get attached to certain patients and know that I could heal them, so I would just heal them, and then I ended up taking in a lot of what they were dealing with because that energy had to go somewhere because they hadn't processed the lesson yet. So I work a lot more with people, talking with them, as well as doing the healing now, and helping them find the cause as well as sending that energy in. And with Reiki energy, the thing I love about Reiki is that you won't take on the karmic debt when you use it, because Reiki is an intelligent energy that will go to exactly where it needs to go, and it will heal in whatever manner it needs to be healed. So if the person is open and they're ready to let go of those karmic lessons or whatever it is that's causing the illness, then the Reiki can be sent in and it will heal it. And it's wonderful. It's very powerful, but it also knows where to maybe, if it needs to be affecting somebody's mind more, if they need to realize certain things, awaken to more love, or awaken to other concepts, let go of grief, let go of resentment. Often cancer is because people are holding on to resentment, holding on to guilt. And so the Reiki might need to go in and help clear some of that up and then clear up the cancer. So that's why I'm using Reiki so much lately.
It's a very great conduit, definitely. It's well needed too.
It is. And then I do readings as well. I do healings predominantly, but I do readings. What I really enjoy doing are the group galleries. So messages from heaven. If you have a group of people that you want me to come to your house, or I have another girl that I work with as well, Deanna Zayats. If you want both of us to come to your house, we can do that together. And we usually will do a group gallery for everybody. And then if it's both of us, then we'll separate afterwards and do private readings for anybody that wants private readings on top of it, to go a bit more in depth with whether it's messages that from heaven that came through or psychic information that's coming up. And
that's
I
awesome.
Love teaching meditation, the singing bowl meditations. We have a
Oh,
lot going on with
that's
that.
my favorite, the singing bowl meditation.
Yeah.
I love that. That sound is just so healing.
It's very
so
healing.
Soothing.
Yeah, and I use the Tibetan bowls in my healings often too. This one is actually a massage bowl as well, so it can be used for healings. I have a smaller one that I started with a few years ago that I would use for diagnosis and healing through the sound. This one actually can do massage, which feels wonderful.
I love it.
Everybody seems to enjoy it a lot.
So you want to give them a little sample?
This one doesn't sound so good through the video. Because it's the vibration.
Maybe next time.
I can show a little bit, but it's more, you won't hear it as much as the other bowls. The other bowls work better for meditation, whereas this one, it's the vibration of it. So. And then you can even feel how that vibration just goes all around even without touching it. It just vibrates too, doesn't it?
Yes, I can feel it because I'm very sensitive to energy.
Right. Yeah. And they resonate. The bowls resonate beautifully too. These are made by monks in Tibet, and it actually takes 4 monks to make one bowl typically. One will hold it and spin it while the others hammer it into place and chant, and they'll rotate who's doing what. But they do chant prayers into it. This one has Om Mani Padme Hum inscribed all around it, which is a protection chant, and the treasure vessel on the bottom, flower of life in the middle. So there's so many different types of bowls that they create too. They're just beautiful sacred instruments that they have, and I recommend them to anybody. I'm actually going on another crystal buying trip in February, so if people are interested, I do buy my bowls directly from a guy that's from Tibet, so
that's awesome.
That way I can make sure they're authentic too. There's a lot of counterfeit ones out there too, I guess you could call it counterfeit. So, and not that they wouldn't work as well, but I just really resonate with the energy when it's that soulful energy that's put into it. Psychometry is another thing I do, where you will take an object and hold an object, and you can pick up impressions about it too.
That's amazing. I'm just thinking about how you were saying what the monks do, that's a spiritual practice within itself.
Absolutely.
To do the chanting and, to put their good energy in there, the positive energy, and
Right.
I just think that's amazing.
And I tend to do that at home too.
Yeah.
I'll just play it for myself sometimes. It's very healing just to play it, listen to the sounds come up, whether I'm meditating or chanting or whatever it is. It just really just washes right over you. It's
That's
wonderful.
amazing, absolutely. So would you like to share like maybe a testimonial or two of some people that you've worked with, some of your clients, or you have clients or patients?
Yeah, one of the clients that I worked with that meant a lot to me in Phoenix, he'd had liver cancer, and he had 7 different tumors in his liver, and through psychic surgery I was able to remove all of those. So he went to his Western doctor. They were not able to do much for him. Advances in treatment have come a long way since then. This was about 15 years ago. And so he was kind of in a holding pattern. He had HIV as well, and so he had that combination of the compromised immune system with the cancer and some other issues that were going on with him. I was able to get all of those tumors removed, and the doctors were just baffled at how that happened.
Wow.
Couldn't quite explain it.
Right.
And I had another friend.
They probably wouldn't understand it.
Right. Another friend about a year ago, we were pet sitting for him, and I found out he was in the hospital while we were pet sitting for him, and I was worried about him. He had internal bleeding. The doctors couldn't figure out where it was coming from or what to do, and so I went into a meditative state, because you can do healings without being in front of the person. So this person was in a different state. I went into that meditative state and just really focused on, again, kind of a psychic surgery, figuring out where the bleeding was, stopping it, and then just sending in a lot of Reiki light, that beautiful white healing light, and allowing that intelligent energy to go exactly where it needed to go for him. And he's called in the morning and said, or texted in the morning and said that it stopped. The doctors don't know how it stopped, but he was okay, and they'd be releasing him later that day. So energy is energy, and so you don't have to be with the person. So often I like it if the person's on my table, because I can see them, I can interact with them on a level, mental, physical, spiritual level. All of those come into play when you can actually talk and see the person there. But there are a lot of ways, and I teach this in my Reiki classes. I teach how to do the distance healings. There are several different techniques for doing distance healings, and it's just as effective as if the person is there too. So it's energy is energy, and we're all made of energy. The source of who we are is love, but we have this energy that radiates through us, that electromagnetic field that comes off the body about 3 feet. That you can measure that with equipment and see it varies with different people, but you follow that rhythm of that thread. You just follow where that energy is, and you can send your own energy, or you can draw in divine light, draw in that divine healing, and then send that out to the person. So it doesn't matter if they're on the other side of the globe or if they're right next to you. You can just send that out. And they've measured, it's really interesting, they've done some studies where they measured, I know the Pope was one of them, and they were able to tell, and the Dalai Lama was another one, that their energy radiated so far out compared to what the standard person does. And when you think of it, the Pope, when they have the masses of people that come, just when he stands there, the people feel his presence at the end of all the way at the end of the Vatican. The Dalai Lama, if he comes into the state, I know I can feel that presence, I can feel that energy shift. And so the more you work with that, the more you'll find your own energy, in essence, will be able to go out and multiply as well.
That is amazing. It's interesting you said that, because Deepak Chopra, I volunteered at Unity down in Warren, Unity Renaissance, and I could feel his energy.
Yes.
I was out in the lobby area. I wasn't even in the sanctuary. He was in there speaking, and I could feel his energy. Matter of fact, I felt his energy when he walked in the building. I'm like, something changed, he must be here.
Yes, exactly. That's that electromagnetic energy. That's what we are all made of. That's what the healing runs along those lines. And the more you meditate, the more you practice drawing love in, and you practice sending love out, your own energy, your own essence will raise to that same level too.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Sometimes if I'm in a doctor's office or somewhere where I have a long wait, I'll just go into that light meditative state, so it doesn't, look like anything strange to anybody else.
People,
That light meditative state, and I just practice sending love out to the room, and I'll just envision, whether you would want to envision rose quartz would resonate for you probably, or white light, whatever it is or purple, whatever resonates with you, and just focus on filling that whole room with light. I gained a client in Phoenix because I think it was a chiropractor. And I had been in a waiting room for quite some time and got lost in the meditation. I was in a small waiting room. It was just me. And when he walked in, he actually said, "Wow, it feels really different in here. Were you doing something?" And so it really got us talking. I was a new patient for him. And
I love that. Wow, that's awesome.
I ended up having a message come through from his wife who had deceased.
Wow.
And it was just,
amazing.
You can do a lot just by shifting energy. And so everybody has those moments where you get bored or you're waiting, when you're standing in line at the grocery store, rather than tapping your foot and thinking, when can we go? Instead, just go into a light state of meditation and send love out and see what happens around you. You might have a crying baby in a row next to you, and they'll stop. You might see people, their energy will shift. They'll feel your energy and theirs will shift.
I love that. I know it's true because there was a dog who was howling at my old place, and I could tell something was going on. He was in pain or something was going on. And I just sent healing love vibrations to him, and within minutes, I'm not kidding, within minutes, he stopped.
Nice. Very good. Yes.
And that
it
just
makes a
warmed
big
my heart.
Yes, exactly. Yes. To be able to give love, to give healing, to give peace. And it's so simple to do it. Anybody can do it. You at home, if you've never practiced, you can do it. It's within all of us to be able to do this.
Absolutely. And I have one final question for you. And that is, you are so in tune with yourself and your work here on this planet and what you do. How can we help? What is your advice to someone who know they have these spiritual gifts, but they're afraid to come out of the closet? They're afraid of what people are going to think about them and so forth. What is your advice to them?
Right. I've run into that a few times with people where they're nervous, and often behind that nervousness is a fear because of a religious basis. There's that fear that this is and it's all just fear of the unknown is all it is, because there's nothing negative about it.
Nothing at all.
That fear of the unknown and not knowing where this fits with God. Well, God is in all of us. It's who we are. We're connected. We're one. And in the Bible, Jesus had said we can do all the things that He has done and so much more. And in the Bible, it talks about how we are one with God. We're that essence lives within us, whether you call it God, Goddess, universe, consciousness, whatever you call it, it's within us. So when people realize their true potential, the fact that God is within them, that the whole of the universal consciousness is within them, and then to be able to just speak it in that way, I think can help. Often I'll talk to people about how I follow the path, the wheel of the year, and following the seasons of nature. Sometimes that's an easier way for people to understand the path because it's, following the rhythms of life. And so much of it is just about semantics, and it's not the essence of what's being done. It's not the fact of, doing healing work or hearing from the other side or things like that, but it's the words that we use. And so finding what words work for you and then using that power of knowing your birthright is that connection with the divine. There's the full source of the divine is within each and every single one of us. And so when we realize and claim that, we can do all of these magnificent things that seem like miracles, because so many people are still asleep. So many people haven't awakened to the fact that we can perform these miracles, which can also be explained by science, and that's just a natural way of life. And so I think that's the biggest thing, in not being afraid of what people think, not being afraid of judgments, and having words to use ahead of time, I think really helps to get over some of the vocabulary for people. And I think sometimes people tell me that their children are talking to the other side. I've heard probably from about 5 people over this last 2 months
Mm.
that were afraid of their kids talking to, whether it be a grandmother or various things. And it's so natural, though, for all of us to be able to do that. The reason many adults don't is because they're told as kids that it's their imagination, or they're told that it's negative, or they're told we're not supposed to. And it's something that just naturally happens, that we share this world with so many other planes, so many other
we absolutely do.
energies. And so the more in touch you are with yourself, the more open you will be. The more you meditate, the more open you will be.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's just great.
And the source of all of it is love. I think that's the key for anybody who feels like they're in the closet with it still. Know and embrace the fact that the source of all of it, the source of everything, of who you are, of what this energy is, the source of it is love. And so just radiate that out. And you might find certain people do fall out of your life, and that's okay.
And it's okay.
Sometimes you need to let those go. As they fall out of your life, more people are going to come in, and your own vibration is going to raise up, because you will find the people around you are the people that are at your level. And so sometimes as you shift, some will shift with you. Sometimes as you shift, you have to let go of some and embrace new.
Yeah, and I love that. It's amazing. Wow. This has been so great.
I've enjoyed chatting with you. Thank you so much.
I love you for that too, and I love chatting with you. Every time we interact, I learn something new, and it's a pleasure. Absolutely a pleasure. Are there any last thoughts? Anything else you want to share? Any information?
If any of you are interested in learning more, I would love to have you in my classes. I would love to have you if you're interested in getting a healing, if you want to do a group gallery reading, any of those things, definitely please let us know. On Earth and Sky, we do broadcast live talks every Sunday. So we started out in the journey calling it services, and then we moved to calling it lessons. But I think live talk really resonates with what we're talking about. So live talks every Sunday. On Tuesdays, we have our Tea with DNA segment, where we we take the scientific and we put that with the metaphysical and kind of dissect all of these things to make more sense for the analytical minded. And then Monday, we have our moment of reflection. Wednesdays, our Wednesday What segment. And we're thinking about doing a Throwback Thursday. So if you're interested in any of those, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where you will get more information for other people. We do put everything over onto, a lot of it goes onto Facebook later, but a lot of it's just on YouTube too. I guess they're both separate entities. So like and subscribe to us on YouTube, like our Facebook page, Earth and Sky Center for both of those. If you're interested in learning more, you can also call me at 616-690-9548 if you're looking to schedule a session. I would love to hear from you.
Wonderful. Thanks again for being a guest, Angela.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love. Namaste.